I built myself a virtual tiny home to spend quarantine in. Hey! How do you do, fellow kids? How are ya? How's quarantine life? I fortunately didn't really get affected a lot by this whole corona thing, since I stay inside anyway all day, so this doesn't really change much. However, all the positive habits that I had kind of built up just disappeared. I think since the whole quarantine started, my life has become super sluggish. Yeah, I've been getting up super late. I've not been getting a lot of work done. I had a lot of positive habits build up, like learning, drawing, going on walks, and I've not been doing any of that. Furthermore, I had it as one of my goals for this year to actually go out and work from like cool places like the outside or coffee shops or not my home, because I don't know, it's easier to get distracted if the computer or the place that you're working on is also the place where you game a lot. Okay, so what am I rambling? So yeah, two problems. I want to work from cool places and I want to get my habits in order and like get a routine going, or like figure out how to be productive again. So I wanted to make a game that helps you build habits and that gives you some chill vibes for when you're working. And I'm gonna program it in Godot. So first of all, I'm gonna write down what I even want to make, like just getting all of my thoughts out, getting all of my ideas out, to kind of tie this whole thing together. Then once I have my notes, I want to figure out what the first prototype is gonna be. I'm thinking I need a background. That is later gonna be the animated image. Then I want a timer. Just gonna put it up here for now, and that timer needs to sync to my Windows time. So if I can't figure this thing out, then I can't make the app that I want to make. So this definitely needs to be in the first prototype. What I also want to do is with that timer for testing, I want it in hours, then minutes, and then seconds. And like either minute, not probably seconds, like every 5 seconds or so, I want to change that background. For now, I don't think I'm gonna put an image in. I'm just gonna have it like randomized colors. So like that background is gonna be like pink, green, blah blah blah. So that's just gonna change. So this is the first thing that I want to make. Second step, if I have that running, if I have that background running, what I want to do then is put some kind of pop-up over it. And that pop-up, I just want to have two things. I want to have activity and I want to have time. So for the activity, I'm imagining some kind of text input box. And for the time, just some time input box. Once the player has entered these two, oh yeah, I need a button. And I press the button, say button. Then this one changes, the pop-up disappears, and the text that they enter is now up here, and the time that they entered is also up here. So these two get transferred. Yeah, and then this screen and this screen is the same. Am I making sense? Is this making sense to you? I hope it is. But yeah, basically this is my goal for the first prototype. changing background, timer that displays real time, and a pop-up box that when a button is clicked on that box, this one disappears and the text and time that the player has entered gets pasted into here, which should just be strings. So let's try making that. Hey y'all, while editing this, this just bothered me so much. I don't know why I didn't draw this centered, but for all you people that were just as bothered by this as me, here you go. I'm just gonna move it over here, and then let's just pretend that was the drawing that we saw all along. Hello. Okay, so I'm still in the middle of learning how to code anything. It kind of took me all morning to figure out how to make a super simple thing. To give a quick update, the background works and changes color, as you can see, and I also got the timer to sync properly to the Windows time. Okay, so my plan is to replace this rectangle that I have with, like, I don't know, maybe 18 different frames later, and these frames should depict a room, and that room should be lit with different lighting. So I want like an image for morning, one for midday, one for afternoon, one for sunset, one for evening, and then I'm just gonna go through the frames, and then depending on which time it is, the frames should change. So the game always, like when you boot it up, has the background that matches your current time, if that makes sense. So the timer doesn't show a 0 yet before, like, if it's a single digit number. So I still have to fix that. And it will run on the 24-hour time format and not AM and PM. It's a game for myself, so I don't really feel like adding it. I got super stuck making a freaking pop-up. I had this UI box where you could put in the activity that you wanted to do and then like the amount of minutes. I had that as a separate scene, and I just wanted you to press a button, then the pop-up should close and it should display the nice background, and then just at the top which activity you were planning on doing for the next 60 minutes or so. And by the way, I at least got the activity text working. I couldn't figure out how to freaking close the pop-up. Pro tip, if you're learning anything new, get on Discord. In my case, I went to the Godot Discord and just posted a screenshot and my code and a request for help. And yeah, one guy took a look at my project and actually helped me figure it out. It was a super simple fix, but I just couldn't do it for some reason. Now I know how to do it. Lesson learned. Discord forums are great. For the rest of the day, I pretty much just want to make some art. It's already getting pretty late. Yeah, so I'm just gonna make some art and to get the perspective right, I built myself a simple 3D scene in Godot, which is literally just made out of some boxes that I stretched and scaled and rotated. Then I started making the line work, which I later planned to fill in with colors. However, I wasn't really happy with the perspective. So here you can see me moving the vanishing points further out to make it less extreme. So, as you can see, that means I have to redo all of the lines. Hi, it's me again. I started working on the art and I hate it. I started looking up some references and my favorite site to do that is Pinterest. It's very annoying that I think you need an account to check out pins on Pinterest, but for me it's like my go-to site to look at references. So I just searched for cute game art, saw some isometric game art, then searched for isometric game art, and then saw a bunch of cool shit which reminded me of the idea that I had in the first place. Yeah, I'm going with an isometric perspective now, and let's hope this works out. Alright, so I went with an isometric perspective. After setting up the grid, I made a sketch that resembled the previous layout of the room. And this is just to check if everything has the right size, which, by the way, is way easier to see in an isometric perspective than in non-isometric. And yeah, I'm kinda happy I recorded the whole process because you can kinda see the house coming together. Okay, after I had the line work, I started laying down some color. For that, I first made myself a color palette, which you can see in the top left. Then I just masked every side of every object. So every side that is facing a window gets a lighter color, and every side that is facing away from the window gets a darker shade of that same color. Hi, I'm back on my couch. I'm super happy how the art is looking at the moment, and for now I have a solid base, and what I plan to do next is layer a multiply layer on top of the whole thing with like a dark blue color or something, and then I'm gonna erase the parts where there's light. For all of the different daylight scenarios, I'm gonna do one of these multiply layers. So I'm not gonna touch the base drawing that I did now. I'm just gonna later change the different multiply layers because they're all gonna have different lights. I don't know if this makes sense. Yeah, end of day one for the project. I mostly did art today. The next step is to figure out how to actually assemble the art in Engine, because right now I just saved out the different daylight frames as PNGs. But I actually want to see if I can like recolor them in the engine. I know that Godot has a gradient tool. I want to split the shadows and like animate them and like see how far I get. So I think that's gonna be the next step of this game, if you can call it that. So for the next couple of days, my plan is to just pretty much finish all the graphics, save them out, and also figure out the logic of how I'm gonna layer them. Because in the end, I wanna have the backdrop, I wanna have an animated character with like just 2 or 3 frames. I wanna have that character and like maybe 2 poses. Then I want the lighting layers on top of that, and then I also want a gradient shader. Hey, so Simone from the future here. I was planning, like at this point I was planning all this fancy stuff with shaders, but like 5 minutes into the gradient shader tutorial I realized that it's fucking hard and shader code is different in Godot than normal Godot code, and instead I saved out all of the 10 backgrounds that I had at that point and just mashed them into the project with a bajillion if statements. In the end, that led to something like this. So this was the first animation that I had, and it was kind of a bit too extreme, so I cut like the last couple of frames where the head goes all the way over here, and then completely redid the in-betweens to make it a bit more subtle. I started animating and finishing backgrounds with 18 frames total and a character with 8 frames in 7 different lighting setups. So what is happening is that I said, for example, between 5 and 7 p.m. there's going to be a background frame for 5, for 6 and for 7, but there's only going to be one character model for 5 and 6 and 7. And then starting at I think 8 or 9 I have the next character model, but then for 8, for 9, for 10 and for 11 I have different backgrounds, but it's just one character. So that's kind of how I saved some time and didn't have 18 character states as well, because that... nope. So I want you to have this window where you can type in what you want to do. Then you can set how many minutes you want to do it. I need to limit the minutes because I don't think I can make a timer that goes over 4,000 something. So I will need to set a limit of what you can type in, and then also let the player know on the interface that there is a limit. After struggling with the built-in text boxes and buttons for a bit, I finally managed to recolor them in a way that worked with my interface design. So yeah, this is the final interface and I'm really happy with how it came out. It's been a very long time since I started this video. I think I started this whole project when the lockdown was just happening, and it's been 2 or 3 months. Josef and me have been super busy with work, and like when I haven't been working, I was just not in the mood to like draw, make games, any of that sort. I picked up 2 other hobbies, one of which is just building stuff, making stuff. Yeah, just like making stuff in our flat. The next kind of thing that I want to do is finish up our balcony. That's kind of where I have, can you see them? Yeah, these things from IKEA lined up. And then also plants. After neglecting them for like 6 years, I've finally gotten around to figure out which kind of house plants I have and like started to care for them a little, and yeah, they have been like putting out new leaves and like growing and stuff, so that's been super rewarding. So yeah, I kind of just wanted to do things away from the computer. And after having a super stressful day yesterday, I just felt that today is gonna be the day where I'm not gonna do any major client work and just focus on finishing the small game that I started. Because I'd really like to build up a routine again because yeah, the days have just been blending together and I've not really been as productive as I was, which makes sense because of like the quarantine and like everything else happening, but I'd really like to get some order back into my days. I want to like pick up running and stuff, and yeah, I've been making a couple attempts also with like me still learning. Oh yeah, I'm still learning Japanese by the way, but it's always like on and off. It was super constant a couple months ago, and like now it's like every couple days or so I might pick it up. So yeah, I want to finish the game, I want to finish another artwork today, so those are the only things that I want to get done. And then I just like want to get back into like building up a routine. So to start this day off, first thing I'm gonna do is actually take a walk outside, because it's still super early and nobody else is out, so I might, yeah, want to get some sunlight. Juicy sunlight. Okay, I got a lot of things done today. The only two things I really need to finish, wait, let me put this down safely. The only two things I really need to finish are the, at the moment it says you're doing X activity for like 5 minutes, but when it goes down to 1 minute it still says minutes, which is such, I don't know, for like somebody who's experienced with coding, this might be like the easiest thing to fix. But since I've written the code like months ago and I don't know what half of it does anymore, I have to relearn a lot of things just to like fix minor things like that. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then the last thing is kind of to figure out how to build this whole project so I can upload it on, I think, itch. Oh, I also added music. Since this is just supposed to be like chill, non-commercial, whatever thing, I just took the lo-fi beats to study to from 2018, and just threw that in there. Originally I wanted to make some sort of playlist and link that up, but then I found like if I would find a way to open the browser and just let a playlist play, then I'm on YouTube, and once I'm on YouTube I'm distracted. I'm already distracted because there's a huge wasp out there. Stay away. So yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to include the music into... Okay, that's kind of why I wanted to include the music into the app, so there's no way that you or me or anyone can get distracted by YouTube. So yeah, then I figured out that Godot doesn't support music files that are over, I think, 150 megabytes. So it crashed a lot where I was trying to find out that limit. So which, like, I guess it makes sense. Like, most game projects don't have 2 gigabytes of music playing because their sound files aren't that long. I limited the amount of minutes that you can do a certain task, so it's 100 minutes at the moment. So ideally I want to have music that plays for exactly 100 minutes. But that was way too long, so now I think the maximum I could do was 15 minutes. So that is implemented now, and I still have to test if it loops correctly. Oh yeah, you can also turn on and turn off rain, and I'm kind of proud of that. Like, it's such a dumb detail, but it was fun. It was super fun to make. Okay, now let's figure out how to build this thing and how to fix the goddamn minutes thing. So, it's been 3 weeks since I finished the game and have posted it on itch. I've gotten a lot of feedback from some people who downloaded it, some friends who I obviously forced to play it, and it's been really good so far. So in the last 3 weeks we kind of decided that we wanted to put the game on Steam. Okay, no, Josef and me didn't decide that, but a friend of ours who knows Steam gave us the hint, hey, if you already have this game, why not put it on Steam as like a free game? So that is what we are doing. So I wanted to add a couple more things, fix a couple more things. First thing that I kind of wanted to do was fade the rain in and out, because at the moment it looks kind of harsh. Like, I know for a free game it's probably okay, but I just wasn't happy with how it was looking. The past 2 days I spent just trying to figure out how to freaking fade rain. To make myself feel better, I managed to do a slider for sound and one for music. Oh, on that note, a friend of mine who's a really good sound designer, he also sent me an improved rain sound, which I can now use. But yeah, to make myself feel better, I made this sound and the music slider, which are now working, and then today I literally just sat down all day trying to get this fucking fade to work. And in the end I just sat down, watched a tutorial on how to use a tween, did a bunch of Google searches, and then just like hot glued the code together. So that's what this project kind of is, like all held together by hot glue. So it works now, it fades, I'm happy. Now, 2 more things. While searching for the fade function, I found this really cool snippet of code that does color shifts. So I kind of modified it a bit, gave it some like random range and some other colors. At first I wanted to do it on the windows, but it kind of looked bad. Like it looked like there was a party happening outside and you weren't invited. So I kind of just put that effect on the laptop. So and now like the little laptop has like colors that it has. Oh yeah, and then the last thing that I did, that I literally just finished it, it's like 9 or 10 in the evening, is a friend of mine asked if it was possible to have there be a sound when the timer runs out. So because he actually wanted to use the cottage game to learn kanji. So he's like, yeah, I would like to set myself a time of like 30 minutes, and then once those 30 minutes are over, I would like to have an audio reminder that the 30 minutes are over. So at first I made an icon, but and put it with the other sound icon so you could just toggle it on and off. But I sent that to him and asked him like, hey, is this understandable? I also asked Josef. Josef instantly said, nope, nobody will get this. Then I said, oh, I can like write this explanation under it. And as I started to try to explain what the button was doing, I also realized, yeah, it's like way too long and like complicated. And then Josef suggested if I just put like a little on and off switch that you can toggle and the pop-up, and that is also what the friend who requested the feature, what he suggested. So the reason why I didn't do that first is because I didn't want to touch the pop-up because I don't know what some of the lines do anymore, so I was a bit hesitant. But like I just like after dinner I just sat down, took a look at it, and I figured out what each part does. Okay, so long story short, I changed the layout from this to this, and now you can just toggle the sound in the pop-up at the start. So now the game is done, right? Oh no. So I spent some more time centering the game in the middle of the screen and having the background color be controlled by code instead of graphics. To do that, Step 1. Had Google Sheets do the math for figuring out the background color codes because I'm not dealing with that. Step 2. Put the colors into the horrible mess of if and else statements that I call code. Step 3. Remove the background from my original images so that there is no weird border or anything happening and I can actually downsize the project. Step 4. Test if the colors look correct, which they finally do. And with that, the game was done. Right?
Hey folks, we are going to get a little bit geeky today. We are going to learn how to build Godot from source code on Windows. Is make sure you choose C++ in the options for installation. So now there's 3 other pieces of software that you will need for this, and I'm actually going to walk you through.
Python, that's not really the case. The language fragmented at some point in time, and a majority of people are using the 2.x, not the 3.x version.
But why?
GitHub website, and then press enter.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine, and you're not really fine. You just can't get into it because...
All of you who program for a living, are you insane? Okay, so this is kind of the first rage quit at this moment because I can't get over the fact at how inconvenient it is to build a fucking project on Godot for Steam. So earlier today I finally changed some of the graphics, I finished the UI, I just did some little polish tweaks on the cottage game because Josef and I have actually made a Steam page for the game. It's still online on itch and but yeah, we also wanted it to be on Steam. Primarily so that our Steam account has a second game, because that would look maybe a bit nicer and it kind of is a part of our portfolio, but second of all, I just wanted it to be accessible on a bigger platform. Now I've pretty much worked on this all day and now it's the evening and I'm kind of done with this day, and now all this shit with how to build for Steam. And I know it's if I just... my experience with programming so far has been you run into a problem, then it's just overall frustration. You search all the forums, you search all the video tutorials, and then you find that one keyword or that one snippet of code or that one sentence that just explains things to you, and if you use your brain a bit, you can usually get through every problem. And the Steam thing, it's not complicated, I think. But it's all of the things that I fucking hate about working with code, from GitHub to Visual Studios to just ugly interfaces. I'm just not dealing with it today. I'm sorry. I guess it is now the beginning of August. As I said earlier, we'll also be releasing the demo of our first commercial game, actually. If you haven't downloaded it on itch, you can download the cottage game and you can also download the demo for our commercial game, which we'll probably release 1 or 2 weeks after. Hi, editing Simone here. Every time I edit my own videos, I notice how I just can't keep information in my brain long enough to retain it for when I record the videos, so you're getting this now. This video was filmed in August. Back then in August I had no idea when we were gonna release what, so I wrote it down. So right now, in the video description you can find a link to the cat game, which last week's video was about, and you can also find a link to the cottage game. At the moment you can only wishlist those 2 games, and next Wednesday the cat game will have a demo which you can play, and then the week after the cottage game is gonna be released. The cottage game is completely free, and then the week after that we're gonna release the cat game, so if at any point you want to buy it after playing the demo, you can do that, but you don't have to. So yeah, back to the video. Yeah, if you just want to support us in any way, you don't really need any money for it, just like either wishlist or download the free games or free demos. Yeah, and just, I don't know, follow this journey. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. This is kind of where we're at right now. I think this is the last time that I'm gonna film for this cottage game video. The last thing that I need to do is build the game for Steam. So if you can see it on Steam, then I managed to build it somehow. If this is not the last thing that you see in this video and there's still like half a minute left, then there's probably another rant coming when I have to build it. Yeah. See ya.